Hi everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Order Battletome Kharadron Overlords, along with their brand new Bookman, which was sent along as a complimentary digital review copy by Games Workshop for me to check out and for you guys to hear about how that went. So, yeah, here we go. It is one of the remaining 3rd edition Battletomes. I got my previous one right here to do my Dare to Compare, looking at what's new and what's changed and what's different. And they get their glow up now. I gotta tell you, it was a lot easier to go through and highlight everything when these were physical copies. You can see my last one. This is from the last time this happened. I got all my highlighters on here, my notes. But we're gonna do this the way that we can. So, 3rd edition glow up. Well, what do you got here? You've got your sort of like streamlining of the Battletome, pulling out sort of the core components, definitely taking the complexity or sort of like requirement of things like the different skyports down to some much more streamlined stuff, which seems to be the 3rd edition trend. And of course, adding in things like grand strategies and bespoke battle tactics for the round by round scoring. So we all know the drill now. This is what they're getting. This is how it's gonna go. As well as some rewording and stuff onto things like the embarking and disembarking for your Skyfarer units, which is a new keyword that tells you who can go in and out of their airships. So when you take Kharadron Overlords, you get a selectable keyword. You get Barak Nar, Barak Zilfin, Barak Zon, Barak Baz. It's hard to see this in the small typing. As well as Barak Thring and Barak Mornar. Which are your 6 skyports. Now, like, they don't get their own full page anymore. It's just 3 on one page, 3 on the other. Nice, streamlined, like, rules for where you come to. Kharadron Overlords armies have transport vessels is a new keyword, which can, well, not new, but it's the keyword for that, which can embark units as described below. Embarking during the deployment, instead of setting up a Skyfarer unit on the battlefield, you can say that they will be embarked on a friendly transport vessel that's already in the battlefield. If you do so, put them on one side. In addition, in the movement phase of a friendly Skyfarer unit finishes a move wholly within 3 inches of a transport vessel, they can embark as long as both the units are within 3 and they're not within 3 of any enemy units. You can say that they are now embarked and they are removed from the battlefield and moved to one side. Each transport vessel has a limit on the number of models it can carry. A transport vessel cannot embark a unit if doing so would exceed this limit. So you can have multiple units on a transport vessel. While units embark, the following rules apply. They're still treated as being on the battlefield. Range and visibility to and from the model in an embarked unit is measured from the transport vessel. In addition, for the purpose of visibility, models embarked in the unit are treated as models that can fly. So you can see over woods and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. So like that basically just interacts with like the Wild Woods rules, where if you fly, you can see through it. If you can't, then you can't. So it's just an elevation rule, basically. Embarked units are in cover. In addition, subtract 1 from hit rolls against them. Models in an embarked unit cannot contest objectives, so you don't count as the extra models for contesting, which is cool. And embarked units cannot move. However, when a transport vessel finishes an active move, all units that are embarked are considered to have made the same kind of move. So basically, if your sky vessel advances, you count as advancing as well. So interestingly, they've removed the idea that they're garrisoning, right? So they're no longer a garrison unit, which means anything that's triggered by being garrisoned doesn't work anymore. So like, things that come to mind are like the Sons of Behemat have some, the Gatecrasher Gargan has rules for like garrison units and stuff like that when it attacks them. This wouldn't apply to them. And then disembarking in your movement phase, friendly Skyfarer units embarked on a transport that have not yet moved in that phase, you can say they'll disembark. So the transport can't have moved yet, which means no moving and disembarking afterwards. If you do so, then set them up wholly within 3 and more than 3 from enemy units. Unit disembarks in this way, it can still move in the same turn, interestingly enough, because you haven't moved the vessel already. If a friendly transport vessel is destroyed before moving it from play, roll a number of dice equal to the models inside. For each roll of 1, a model slain. Then they all disembark automatically, and then it's removed. When a unit disembarks, if a model cannot be set up wholly within 3, then they're considered to be slain. So too many models can't go all within 3 because of like enemy units surrounding the vessel, then you can't get out, and you're all dead. So yeah, basically like some vaguely 40k-ish transport rules now, and not counting as garrisoning. And I'm pretty, I did double check, but I was pretty sure they counted as garrisoning before. I can't remember. I might just be completely misremembering that from the last book. But that was the thing this last book did. And let's just double check I'm not immediately speaking out of turn. Allegiance Battle Trades, Aether Gold, Master of the Skies. That's all Aether Gold stuff. Oh, I think it was, is it actually just a keyword in, it might have just been a keyword in the actual transports back then. Ironclad, flying transport. Yeah, and they count as garrisoning. Yeah, there we go. And they don't control an objective. So I wasn't making it up. It just wasn't an army transport rule now. Now it was a unit rule. Now it's just a universal army rule. All right, so then we've got our stick to the code. And when you choose a Kharadron's Overlord army, you can pick one article, one amendment, one footnote. There's 3 of each of these. And then they apply to your army basically. So your articles, you can honors everything. When a friendly Overlord unit receives the rally command, you get guys back on a 4+ instead of a 6, which is amazing. Master of the Skies, 2 inches of move for your sky vessels and settling grudges. After deployment before the first battle round begins, pick an enemy unit, add wound to wound rolls for attacks made by friendly Kharadron Overlords units to target that unit. So basically, pick somebody out to die. Could be really, really good against like your whatchamacallit, like your big guy armies, like you know, things with like a Maw Crusher in it, like Oryx, or you know, maybe Sons of Behemat. It used to be reroll 1s. Now, of course, it's just +1 to hit. Or sure, 1 to wound. Sorry, because there's lots of ways of getting +1 to hit. That's a minor change. Amendments: always always take what you're owed. Start of your hero phase, pick a friendly Arcanaut company unit until the start of your next hero phase. Each model counts as 2 instead of 1 for contesting objectives. That is a change, because it used to be an extra Aether Gold. Prosecute wars with all haste. Once per turn in your movement phase, when you make a run roll for Kharadron Overlord units, you can roll 2d6 instead of a single dice. And then trust to your guns. Once per turn in your shooting phase, you can reroll 1 hit roll of one of your attacks made by a friendly Kharadron Overlords units. So trust to your guns could be handy for all the big cannons on your ironclads. Footnotes: there's no reward without risk. Once per battle in your charge phase, you can attempt to charge a friendly Kharadron Overlords unit within 18. You roll 3d6 instead of 2d6. So once per game, supercharge. There's no trading with some people. Once per battle, at the end of your enemy shooting phase, pick a friendly Skyfarer's unit that was targeted by any shooting and they can immediately shoot. So you shoot back, basically. And then without our ships, we are not. Once per battle, at the start of any phase, pick a friendly sky vessel. That unit can receive up to 2 commands in the phase instead of 1. So yeah, I mean, basically 3rd editioning all of these footnotes. They've removed like the reroll charge and made it a 3d6 charge. The retreat and still shoot is neat, but basically being able to shoot back, and then it's not healing the sky vessel, it's just 2 commands instead of 1, but one of them is a heal. Iron Sky command abilities. So this is for your admirals. In addition, Sky Vessels can issue these commands to themselves. So there's combat landing. You can use command ability at the end of your movement phase. The unit that receives the command must be a friendly transport vessel, and you can then immediately disembark. So basically, you normally have to get out before it moves. This is a command where after it moves the movement phase, they can get out. So a handy command for getting guys across the table and on objectives and stuff, or to go launch an assault or a shooting phase. Fly high. Use command ability at the end of your movement phase. The unit that receives the vessel must be a sky vessel. More than 3 from all enemy units. You can't be engaged in combat. So this is a pretty important distinction. You can't do this while you're engaged in melee, because you used to be able to do this to escape. Remove that unit from the battlefield and set up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 from all enemy units and more than 1 from trained features. So it's end of your movement phase. So you would retreat first and then do it, but you can't just pop out anymore, because the retreat move would then prevent you from shooting. And then disengage, use this command ability in your movement phase. The unit can receive the command, must be a friendly sky vessel that's not yet moved in the phase. That unit can, and any embarked units, can retreat and still shoot later in the turn. So this is why your without our ships all is not ability comes into play, because now you could disengage, which means a retreat move and still shoot, and then fly high afterwards and get away. That's basically the combo there, because you're not able to escape otherwise, and it's once per game. So it's when your ironclad is like in melee with too much stuff and about to get blown up, you can do this by using without our ships all or not. I feel like that footnote is just gonna get used. Like, it's kind of the obligatory footnote now, because it's allowing you access to something you used to be able to do once per game. The shoot back and training with some people is cool, but like, if you have an ironclad, you want to stay alive. Enhancements, command traits. Lords of the Sky Fleet, Grudge Bearers. So this is for your, who can have these? Anybody, any hero, and not tied to a keyword. After deployment, but before the start of the first battle round, pick an enemy hero. Double the damage inflicted by successful attacks made with the general's weapons to target them. Cunning Fleet Master, at the end of the movement phase, you can pick a friendly sky vessel within 12 of the general and more than 12 from the enemy when they make a normal move. That one's really neat because you can pull back, but you have to be far enough away to do it. Scholar of an Archanaut. But remember, if you're embarked, you count as being on the table and within 12. So if your Fleet Master is on board a sky vessel, if someone creeps towards you, they're still outside of 12, you could just pull back and make a move, which is kind of cool. Scholar of an Archanaut. You can pick one additional footnote from your army. You cannot pick a footnote your army already has. So the Scholar of the Archanaut means you could then have the shoot back and the fall back and still shoot. So that one feels pretty popular to be able to do both those things, but also Cunning Fleet Master is incredibly powerful because you can use it to push forward or to move away. You just make a normal move. Old Skydog, pick an extra great Edrin work. It's interesting how all of this stuff is about your army and barely about you, except for Grudge Bearer. X Grunstock, friendly Grunstock units in the battle line battlefield role. In addition, once per turn, this general can issue a command to a friendly Grunstock unit without a command point being spent. Again, very, very handy. The free command point is a huge deal, because it also gets around any of the the Lumineth shenanigans of shenanigans of doubling your command abilities, costs, and stuff. So again, most of these loads of the Sky Fleet's command traits are really compelling. And then Stormcaller, while the general's in the battlefield, you can reroll the dice roll for a friendly Etheric Navigator to read the winds. I think that X Grunstock is really handy because it's a free command, and then giving, of course, Grunstock stuff the battle line roll, which means it can benefit from battle line stuff in upcoming or future realm packs. And then the Scholar of the Archanaut to double dip on footnotes is also really handy, but Cunning Fleet Master to me feels like, I don't know, those four, Stormcaller and Grudge Bearer. If your Fleet Admiral's in melee, with the other enemy general, that's probably a terrible idea. Stormcaller is, they're cool, but I don't think they're as important as your actual sky vessels. The other ones are all pretty compelling and have a case against each other. Inventions of the Skyports, these are artifacts. So your Admiral only is the Masterwork Armor, get a 5+ ward. Celestium Burst Grenade, once per battle start your shooting phase, pick an enemy unit within 12 of the bearer and roll a die. On a 2+, ward rolls cannot be made for models in that unit, that phase. Cool. Blazebeard Son and Son's Drac Hobbler Mag Bolas. As for your movement phase, you can pick one enemy monster within 12 of the bear and roll a die. On a 2+, unit's grappled until the end of the opponent's next turn. When enemy unit's grappled, roll 1 fewer dice when making a charge roll for that unit to a minimum of 1 dice. Spell in a bottle. It's an endless spell. It's for an Aether Chemist only. Pick an endless spell that does not have belong to a faction, so the universal ones from the General's Handbook. You can include that endless spell in your army without spending any points. In addition, once per battle, in your hero phase, the bear can automatically cast a spell, and it can't be unbound. However, the bear cannot control the endless spell, so it just is an unbound endless spell, and it takes off and does whatever it feels like. Phosphorite Bomblets, Edrin Master only. Once per battle, in your shooting phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 6 inches of the bear and roll a die. On a 2+, unit suffers a mortal wound, and you can roll another dice. Keep going until you roll a 1 and the target's destroyed. Holy crap. Just keep rolling 2s and make mortal wounds. I don't know how I feel about that. That could be something. That could honestly be something. Ward saves obviously can be taken against it, but if you get the Celestium Burst Grenade off first, and you could take multiple enhancements. This is me looking for my mechanical power thing. That seems mechanically really powerful. And then Voidstone Orb, Etheric Navigator only. Once per battle, when the bearer attempts to unbind a spell, you can say they will use the Voidstone Orb. If you do so, that spell is automatically unbound. Don't make a roll. So they've kind of combined all the previous ones from all the different hero types into one for an Admiral, 1 to 2 generic ones, and then 1 Aether Chemist one, 1 Edrin Master one, and 1 Etheric Navigator one. Pretty great. And then you get your unique enhancements, which are your ones for your ships and stuff. The Great Endrin works. You get Ironclad ones, and then you also get ones for your Grunstock Gunhauler and Archanaut Frigate. And there's lots. There's 6. So they combine the hero ones down to just 6 for everybody, and then these guys all still get 6 of their own. Last word. This is the one where someone charges, you can shoot. End of the charge phase, pick an enemy unit that finishes charge within 3. That unit can shoot at the enemy with its Great Sky Cannon, Great Sky Hook, or Great Volley Cannon. It's basically just a free, stand fire, but with no modifiers. It just happens for free. So no command point being spent, and it's every time someone charges you. At the end of the enemy charge phase, pick one enemy unit that made a charge move in that phase. So anytime someone charges you at the end of the phase, you get to shoot. It's great. Hexen Solutions Old Reliable Hull Plates. The first wound that will be allocated to this unit in each phase is negated. That's pretty great. The Breath of Morgrim. In your shooting phase, pick an enemy unit and roll a die for each model that's within 9. On a 5+, take a mortal wound because it's a giant flamethrower. The Zonbar Core Dealbreaker Battle Ram. When you finish a charge, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch, and on a 4+, equal to the number of dice of your charge roll, you do a mortal wound. Prudency Shoots. If this unit's destroyed, you don't have to roll to see if any of the battles embarked are slain. Just set them up. And units do not have to be set up more than 3 inches from enemy units, so you can just dump into melee. And then Magnificent Omniscope, +2 move, which you could also just take as a article, rather. Your frigate refittings for your Archanaut frigate. The Khazar Farewell Scuttling Failsafe. Unit 50 units destroyed before it's removed. And before any enemy units are disembarked, roll a dice for each unit within 3 of the unit on 2+ to take D3 mortal wounds, because basically you just like blow the ship up and dump it on them. There's 4 for the frigates, and I think 3 for the gun hauler. Yeah, it gets less the smaller your ship is. Malefic Sky Mines. Once per battle at the start of the combat phase, pick an enemy unit that can fly, and that's within 6 of the unit, and roll a die. On a 2 to 3, they take D3 mortal wounds. On a 4+, they take D6, because you drop mines on them. It's only once per game, though. And then Prudency Shoots. If the unit's destroyed, again, the same as the other ones. And then Magnificent Omniscope, same as the other ones, +2 move. And then for the gun hauler modifications, there's a collapsible compartment, so you get a transport of 6, which is cool for Skyfarers. A Debt Settler Spar Torpedo. Once per battle, after this unit has finished its charge move, you can pick an enemy unit within 1 on a 2+ to take number of mortal wounds equal to the roll, which is cool because it's like if you roll a spike on that dice, you just do that many mortal wounds, which is kind of neat. The Ingrid Kaz Surge Injection Edrin Mark IV. When this unit makes a normal move or retreats, add D3 to the move. If you wish, you can add 2D3, but if you roll a double, they take a mortal wound. So you get like a be super fast gun hauler instead. So pretty similar to the previous ones, including the collapsible compartment and all that stuff. All right, let's talk skyports. Every skyport just gets a bonus, and that's it. There's no required anything else. So again, very 3rd edition, streamlining out all the enhancements and required like takes. So Barak Nar, Scholars and Commanders, start of the hero phase, roll a dice for each friendly Barak Nar hero on the battlefield. For every 4+, receive an extra command point. Barak Ziflin is pick an Endrin work for your army, an extra additional one. Free Endrin work. Barak Zon, add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by Scarfarers when they make a charge move, because you're big stabbers, your Marines are great. Barak Urbaz, you can pick an additional article for your army. You can't pick one that your army already has. Barak Mornar, roll dice each time an enemy model issues a command within 12. On a 5+, the command is not received, and the command point that was spent is lost, because you're just shouting and raiding. And then Barak Thring, allied Duwarden priests know the following prayer in addition to any other prayer they know. The Rune of Ancestral Guidance. It's a prayer that can be answered on a 3 and has a range of 16, and targets a friendly Archanaut Company or Grunstock Thunderers unit wholly within range. That's interesting, because you can take Thunderers as allies too. Until the start of your next hero phase, an unmodified hit roll of 6 for attacks made with missile weapons by that unit causes a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic, and the attack sequence ends. Oof. Make your Thunderers cause mortal wounds or your Archanaut Company. That's neat, and also you can take a Duwarden Priest as your ally. We got some cool Path to Glory rules. They're all about making money, because of course they are. Your quests are things like seek new Aether Gold seams, or guard the sky lanes. For every time you, for each friendly sky vessel wholly within your territory, you can modify the contract score by +1 and you receive a renown point. So, you know, capitalism, that's your quest. Sounds very Kharadron-y. And then, of course, you get a bespoke battle plan, and we're on to your grand strategies. All right, I get 4 options. Actually, no, before we get to grand strategies, let's talk about those enhancements. I'm a big fan of the 3rd edition bent of cutting out extraneous junk. If you know how you want the army to play and you want to focus on, extra options aren't necessarily good, and having 6 artifacts and 6 command traits for every army type, or 3 and 3 even, they're just boiled down to the ones used, the ones that don't ever get used. So now I got the ones that are used. People are going to miss some of the old ones, but and some of like the unique ones they use in all their games, but it makes composing the army easier, and the army becomes a little less like there's just text that isn't being used. So I'm fine with it. I think all of the items for all of the different heroes are great. It rewards you basically for taking that hero and then taking a formation that allows you additional enhancement. The spell in the bottle probably won't get used as much anymore, but I think that the double whammy of no ward saves and a 2+ infinite mortal wound chain is going to see a lot of table time. I can't imagine that not happening. I can't imagine the hey Nagash, on a 2+ you can't make ward saves. Also, I'm just going to roll 2+ 18 times in a row and you're dead. Or I do at the end of a turn where I've already hit you with cannons and stuff, you take a bunch of mortal wounds, then I just bleed out the rest of your wounds and you die. And maybe the big play doesn't work and it just goes away, but there's going to be some people that get melted by that combo at some point, and God bless you, Games Workshop. you make lots of Timmy rules, lots of Magic the Gathering Timmy rules, where it's just fun and big payoffs if you take that combo. So grand strategies, master the high airs. Rule of skies. In the battle ends, you complete the grand strategy. If there's one or more friendly sky vessel on the battlefield, there's no enemy behemoths that can fly. So basically, you could just get this one for free because you're going to have a sky vessel and your opponent doesn't fly. I don't know why you wouldn't take this one every game. There's so many armies that don't fly. Like, you're going to have bad drops, obviously. You drop into a dragon, you drop into Lumineth, you drop, like, you have to kill Teclis. There's going to be some bad matchups, but there's also going to be some matchups where it's like, you didn't take a behemoth, and if you did take a behemoth, it doesn't fly, and I just have to keep one of my gun haulers alive. And now I get 3 extra victory points at the end of the game. So it feels like the easiest to do because let's say 2/3 of the time, your opponent's army selection just gives you this, and you just run away with something cheap. Defend the flagship. You pick the grand strategy if the only model picked to be your general is an Arcanine Admiral. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if the general has not been slain and the sky vessel picked to be their flagship is not destroyed. Again, maybe, like, arguably better than Rule the Skies, because you might not get it for free, and if you get, because the thing with Rule the Skies, you have backups, right? Like, if you have like 3 or 4 sky vessels, as long as one of them's not dead, because if you've lost them all anyway, you've lost the game. You're gonna get 3. Defend the flagship. It's kind of like it's probably gonna revolve around your Ironclad, and if your Ironclad lives and your general lives, then you're okay. I think Rule of the Skies is better just because it spreads the risk out. Protect your fleet. After deployment, your opponent must pick a terrain feature to hold a bounty of mineral wealth. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if you control that terrain feature. And then guided by the code, when the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if you completed at least 4 battle tactics, and every battle tactic is from the decrees of the code below. Never take it. I mean, they're just not easy enough. Like, the other ones are just low-hanging fruit. Again, this is exactly what I was talking about before with, you got a bunch of options and some of them are just clearly easier to accomplish, so just do those ones. There isn't an argument for having to complete 4 battle tactics that you may or may not have, like, ground yourself out of at some point, whereas just have a gun hauler alive at the end of the game and your enemy didn't take a flying behemoth, you're fine, right? So, it's not even monster, it's behemoth? Yeah, no enemy behemoths that can fly on the battlefield. So, like, even like because I'm pretty sure the dragons for the Stormcast aren't even behemoths, right? There can be flying monsters on the table that aren't behemoths and you're just fine. In fact, I'm pretty sure even like the Manticore in the Chaos Army isn't a behemoth anymore because it doesn't even have a wound track. Like, you're okay. I guess you wouldn't want to drop into ghouls. Degrees of the code, Kharadron Overlords army only. Bombing run, pick an enemy unit. You complete this battle tactic if the unit destroyed during this turn by the bomb rack ability. So you need to pick off a small remainder of a unit. Mobilize the fleet. You can't pick this battle tactic in the first battle round. Pick 3 friendly units in the battlefield that are not embarked in sky vessels. Complete this turn if at the end of the turn all those units are embarked in sky vessels. Cool. Boots in the ground. Pick 3 friendly units embarked in sky vessels. You complete this battle tactic at the end of the turn if those units are not embarked and are wholly within enemy territory. So basically, if you moved up and then turn 2 dumped out, then boots on the ground would get it to you. That one's, I mean, some of these are easy, but getting 4 of them and having them all score is less easy, I guess what I'm saying. Opening Scalvo, pick this battle tactic if you have no units that have been destroyed in the battle. You complete this tactic if an enemy unit is destroyed in your shooting phase this turn. So, again, you're going to kill most things in this army with shooting, so relatively easy to do. Blast into smithereens, pick an objective in the battlefield within 12 of an enemy unit. You complete this battle tactic if there's no enemy units within 12 of the objective at the end of the turn. And then Stake a Claim, you can pick this tactic if you control fewer objectives than your opponent. You complete this tactic if now you control more at the end of the turn. So again, none of them are undoable. Most of them are fairly easy. None of them are tied to units except for the Sky Vessel ones and the Embarking Disembarking. So Mobilize and Boots, you might not have 3 friendly units embarked in Sky Vessels. And also it might never be opportune for you to get them out or get them in. Bombing run, you need to have a very small unit to finish off, basically, to get that one. So you're looking at 3 that are relatively like, I'm going to be doing this turn anyway, like opening salvo, blasting the smithereens, and stake a claim, all have like target of opportunity stuff where you can probably at some point during 5 turns find a time to do them. It's the fact that you need to get a 4th one, and you may not have the opportunity to do it, that I would just take Grand Tactic that doesn't go into these. But I think these are great because at least half of these you're probably going to do at some point during the game. Just anyway, playing the game, so why not pick them? Core battalions, you can get an attack squadron or an escort wing. So the attack squadron is 2 ironclads and 2 Arcanaut Company units as the core minimum. If you get it, you get expert. So once per battle, you can get a free all attack or all defense. And you also get a swift. Once per battle, you get a free forward into victory. And the other one's an escort wing, which is 2 Grundstock gun haulers and a single Grundstock Marine Corps, so Thunderer unit. So yeah, so Thunderers and Arcanaut Company are required for both these. All that's going to give you is Slayers, so once per battle, and all attack or unleash hell for free. None of these are unified. None of these are anything else. I mean, cool. They're all once per battle bonuses, right? So there's no magnificent in here. All right, let's take a look at some characters. Brock Grungson. He's like the Brock Lesnar of, well, I guess he's not. Core stats are all the same. He has D3 plus 3 damage and has boast now, but it's only 1 attack. So it's dropped half in its attacks, but more consistent damage. You just got to go all in on it. The Magnate's Charter is still 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, but it's 2 damage now. It's gone up in damage. And the Aethermatic Saw is still 4 attacks, 3s and 2s, -2 D3 damage. Exactly the same. Command the Fleet, first rule of Grungson. If this unit makes a charge move in the same turn, add 1 of the attack characteristic of melee weapons by friendly Baraknar Skyfarer units that are wholly within 12. And then Command the Fleet uses command ability at the start of your movement phase. Up to 3 friendly sky vessels that are more than 3 from enemy units can receive the command. In that phase, you can re-roll run rolls for the units that receive the command. In addition, that unit can receive the command, can still run and shoot later in the turn. So that's cool. He flies. And then he has mustache-mounted Aether Blasters. Each time this unit fights, after all attacks have been resolved, you can pick an enemy unit within 3 inches of this unit and roll a die. On a 2 blast, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Now you might notice he no longer has a custom-built dirigible suit, so he doesn't do that anymore. It's actually his mustache guns that do that role. And then Edrin harnesses are also gone. He's just got that gone. So he is a Hero Skyfarer Brock Grunson. He just loads onto a vehicle now. There's no more like skyhooks. But he is a War Master, which is cool, which means he's always your Warlord. You can still have an additional general on top of that. So neat. Lost a little bit of his special ruleness. Skyhooks no longer happen. He just embarks like everybody else. But I believe the transport capacity on most things has gone up anyway. So it used to be they would hook on, like the Arcanauts would ride inside. These guys just, they've made that part of this now. All right, so the Arcanaut Admiral. Yeah, because it's 25 friendly miles before. I should just look that up now before I keep moving on. It's because he's a Skyfarer. Arcanaut Admirals Arcanaut Ironclads held 25 guys before. They might have even just kept it the same. Let's have a look. Ironclad. There it is. Transfer vessel. It's 22 Skyfarer models. And that's it. So it carries less guys even now. It's not even Marine models. It's Skyfarer models. But that would include the floaty boys. I guess you didn't get to your max capacity before anyway. All right, let's have a look at the Arcanaut Admiral. He has pretty much the same core stats. Yep, all core stats are the same. Gun is damage 2 instead of 1 now. The Scalp Hammer is exactly the same, except it's damage 3. So damage went up on everything. He's got the Admiral's flagship. Every Admiral designates 1 model to be a flagship. If this needs a general, you can pick a friendly Arcanaut Ironclad or Arcanaut Frigate in your army to be its flagship. Record this information on your roster. Once per turn, this unit can issue a command to the flagship without the command point being spent, which is cool because that's the your ships all do something special command abilities, right? Grudge Breaker rounds, the finest once per battle. At the start of your shooting phase, you can pick 1 friendly Kharadron Overlords unit that's not a sky vessel. It's wholly within 12. Until the end of the turn, or the phase, sorry, improve their rend characteristic of their missile weapons by 1. The unit can't be picked for benefit for more than once. Bring every gun to bear. Use command ability at the start of your shooting phase. The unit that receives the command must be a friendly sky vessel that's more than 3 from the enemy, that remained stationary in the preceding movement phase and did not receive the high fly command or fly high command in the preceding movement phase. It gets +1 to the attack characteristic if it's missile weapons until the end of the turn. So basically, you can command something to double or add 1 to its attack characteristic for its guns, as long as it was like fully immobile and like did nothing but fly last turn. It didn't go flying high. And then command the skies. Use command ability at the start of your movement phase. The unit that receives the command must be a friendly sky vessel more than 3 from the enemy. The unit can reroll run rolls this turn, and it can run and still charge. So like a baby version of the big boys. Drecky Flint, he's got an Aethermatic Equalizer Mark III. It's one of the newer characters, so I don't think he's actually in this book. No. Drecky Flint's new. The Aethermatic Equalizer Mark III. 9-inch range, 2d6 attacks, 3+3+, -1, 2 damage. Grunson's Axe is 3 attacks, 2-inch range, 3+2+, -2, 2 damage. You can pick a Barak Mornar Argonaut frigate in your army to be the Aisling. The unit you pick cannot also be picked to be a flagship. Record the information in your roster. Add 1 to the damage of that unit's boarding weapons in melee. And then Let Me Drive. Reroll run charge rolls for the Aisling while he's embarked in it. Auxiliary Skyhook. Each time this unit moves or fights after all your attacks have been resolved, you can pick a... So each time this unit fights after the attack's been resolved, you can pick an enemy monster within 3. This unit roll a dice. On a 2+, the monster suffers D3 mortal wounds. You hook him and drag him. And then Light Fingered, at the start of the combat phase, this unit's within 1 of a hero with an artifact of power. You can say that Drecky's going to borrow that. On a 3+, the artifact of power can no longer be used, and this unit cannot use this while he's embarked, however. All right, the Edrin Master with a dirigible suit. Which used to be called a Edrin harness. No, that's the Edrin harness. You want the dirigible suit one. Show me your dirigibleness. There you are. He has the same core stats. His damage on his weapons is roughly the same. He lost his Gaze of Grugni as a gun, though. Gaze of Grugni is just gone. Yeah, no more Gaze of Grugni. Just gone. He's just got his Aethermatic Saw. 3 attacks, 3+2+, -2 D3 damage. His weapon battery is 6 attacks, 3+3+, -1 damage. And his Aether Cannon is 1 attack, 3+2+, -2 D3 damage. Just no Gaze of Grugni. Sorry. He flies. At the start of your hero phase, you can pick a friendly sky vessel within 1, and it can heal up to 3 wounds. And then by Grugni, I have my eye on you. Add 1 to the field repair rolls for Edrin Riggers within 12 of this unit. Etheric Navigators. Where you at, Etheric Navigator? Your core stats are the same. Your ranging pistols are still damage 1, exactly the same. Your Zephyr Scope is exactly the same. You're here to hold a magic item. Aether Sight. This monarch attempted to dispel an endless spell at the start of your phase and unbind 1 spell as if it was a wizard. Read the winds. And until your hero phase, you can say that 1 friendly unit with this ability will read the winds. And you got 2 options. You roll 6 dice and then pick one of the following effects. Either an Aether Storm. For each roll of 1, pick 1 different enemy unit within 30 inches of this unit invisible. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, if any mortal wounds caused by this ability are allocated to enemy unit that are not negated, have that unit's move. And then favorable conditions. For each roll of 6, pick a different friendly sky vessel within 30 of this unit invisible. That unit can make a normal move D3 + 3 inches, and you roll for each sky vessel. So basically, you roll the 6 dice, and depending on what you get, you can decide if it's favorable to do one or the other. All right, the new guy, the Code Right, Mr. Bookman. He is 4-inch move, 5 wounds, 3+ save, and 8 bravery. He's got his 12-inch range, 2 attack, 3+3+, -1 damage, Aether Pistol. And then his Battletome, which I think is hilarious, is 1 attack, 3+4+ D3 damage. He's an advisor. At the start of the hero phase, if your unit's within 6 of another friendly Kharadron Overlords unit, roll 2 dice, and on a 4+ for each one, receive a command point. I think you'll find you can carry out the following heroic action with this unit instead of any other heroic action you can carry out. It's search for a precedent. He's the ultimate rules lawyer. On a dice roll of 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 3, you can pick a new footnote to apply to your army until the end of the battle. On a 4+, you can pick a new footnote and or a new amendment. And you can not pick a footnote or amendment you've previously used. The new footnote or amendment replaces your current one. So this guy's a way of working around needing to take that ability to have 2 footnotes, because it's a heroic action instead of doing any other heroic action. So you have 5 chances at this, basically. And on a 2+, you get a new footnote. And on a 4+, you can take something better even. So those nice once per game ones. All right, your Edrin Master with Edrin Harness. Same exact core stats, except his oh no, his save went to 3+, never mind. He did get a slight glow up. His Gaze of Gregny is gone. He just has an Aethermite Hammer. That's it. 3+, -1 D3 damage. Sorry, 3 flat damage is what they flattened his damage. But they got rid of his Gaze of Gregny completely. He's got II Captain. It started the hero phase, and this unit's embarked and does not yet use its Edrin Master ability. You can say that they will attempt to crank up the power. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 1, the transport vessel in which the unit embarks suffers D3 mortal wounds. And the Edrin Master cannot be used, the Edrin Master ability can't be used this phase, so you can't heal it like everybody else can. On a 2+, until the end of the turn, you can use the top row of that transport vessel's damage table regardless of how many wounds it's suffered. So basically you can 2+, like, have it be not bracketed at all, but you can't heal it that turn. So if it's gone so far that 3 wounds isn't going to do anything, just roll it down at 2+, you just fix it for a turn basically and crank the power back up. Your Aether Chemist did not get the armor glow up. He's still a 4+ save. And he has his Atmospheric Anatomizer for 9-inch range, 3d6 attacks, 4+, -2/1 damage, exactly the same as before. Heavy Instruments, also the same. Etheric Augmentation, at the start of your shooting phase, if this unit is not embarked, you can pick a friendly Skyfarer's unit that's not embarked on it and wholly within 12, and improve the run of that unit's missile weapons by 1. Yeah, so it's the whole, like, shebang basically the same. And the Atmospheric Isolation, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by any models while they're within 3 of the friendly units with this ability that are not embarked. So if you are hanging out next to guys on the ground, then you're within 3 of them, then you are -1 to hit, or they are -1 to hit. And you, because I guess you're friendly to yourself. Bjorgen Thundrick, Thundrick's Profiteers. He has his sweet 4+ save still. He's, again, not gotten that glow up because he's not got the Edrin Harness. His Nanomizer is the same. Heavy Instruments are the same. He's got Toxic Gases. Once we're about at the start of the combat phase, you can say this unit will release Toxic Gas. If you do so, for each enemy within 6 of this unit, roll number of dice equal to the number of models within 6 on a 5+, take a mortal wound. And then Paymaster. Once per turn, you can issue a command to the friendly Thundrick's Profiteers without a command point being spent. And then the Profiteers, basically the same as before. But while they're within 3 of friendly Bjorgen Thundrick, he has a 4+ ward, Protect the Boss. So they all have a 4+ ward if they're within 3 of them, which is kind of cool because they're 2 wounds each with a 4+ save and a 4+ ward. So they're relatively hard to kill. And Kazan Dragonskewer has a wounds characteristic of 3 and can fly. So you're looking at, what is there, 3 of them? So that's 3 + 4, 7 wounds with a 4+ ward save and a 4+ armor save. All right, your basic Arcanaut Company. Let's have a look at these jabronis. Never the most glorious job. Their core stats are still the same. 4+ save, 1 wound. No 2 wounds, eh? You couldn't do it. You couldn't give them 2 wounds like you did to the Fire Slayers. I guess the Fire Slayers are running around with no pants on. They're a bit tougher. All the ranges are still the same except for your Light Skyhook went down to 15, but your Athematic Volleyball went up to 12. Sorry, 15. They're both 15 now. So no different ranges on those. Your Athematic Volley Gun has 2d6 shots now instead of flat 6, but it's 4+, 1 damage. Profiteer Pistol is 2 shots, 4+, 1 damage, 9-inch range. Aether Fair Pistol is 3+ to hit now, and -2, 1 damage. Volley Pistol is 3 attacks, 4+, 1 damage. The Skyhook is 4+, 3+, it's still the same, -2 D3 damage. And the Volley Gun lost its rend. Oof. Your Arcanaut Cutters, still 1 attack, 4+, 1 damage. Your Gun Butts are 4+, 5+, 1 damage. And your Sky Pike is 1 extra attack now. And 3s and 3s with -1 and 2 damage. So a bit more consistency of the Sky Pike. There's still, and consistent ranges is nice too. Every model in Arcanaut Company is armed with a Privateer Pistol and an Arcanaut Cutter. 1 in 10 can have a Volley Gun and Gun Butt. 1 in 10 models can replace their Arcanaut Cutter with a Skyhook and Gun Butt, and 1 in 10 can replace the Privateer Pistol with a Sky Cutter and Sky Pike. Your Champion have an Aether Flare Pistol, and your Glorious Sequel as well. You're not embarked. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with this unit when they're contesting an objective. So, I mean, all those 4s becomes 3s, and the Aether Flare Pistol becomes a 2s. So you're a bit better at hitting while you're an objective. And I mean, that's why you get out with these guys. Usually is to go take the zones. And then Light Skyhook, it's damage 3 if it targets a monster. Because you're ripping chunks out of them. All right, Ironclad. So we talked a bit about your transport going down to 22 already. But let's talk about your core stats. You got 20 wounds now and a 3+ save. Bravery 8. You still degrade, but your brackets have all condensed in the usual tradition thing. You have 4 brackets now instead of 6, 5. So it's 0 to 9, 10 to 12, 13 to 15, and 16 plus. Your move goes 10, 8, 6, 4. Your boarding weapons go from 8 at the beginning to 7, 6, 5. And your bomb racks go from 10, 8, 6 to 4. So you basically end up the same. Your bomb racks have changed, though, to not a bonus. So your Aether Shock Carbines, 12-inch range, 8 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage. You got Aether Shock Torpedoes, 24-inch range, 4+, 3+, 4 shots, -1 D3 damage. You got a Great Sky Cannon that can shoot shrapnels or shells. Shrapnel's 12-inch range, 6 attacks, 3+, 3+, -1, 2 damage, clears the decks. And then the shell is 2 attacks at 24 inches, 4+, 2+, -2 D3 +3 damage. So nice consistency there, but not flat 6 anymore. The flat 6 on the Great Skyhook and the Great Volley Cannon is no more. The Great Skyhook has gone to D6. They made it less consistently damaging than more consistently damaging. Feels weird. Range 1 inch for the boarding weapons, and obviously they have an adjustable attack value, 4+, 4+, 1 damage. So, it's a bulwark of iron. It counts as 5 models for transport or for contesting, and it's 22 Skyfarers can be carried. Yeah, in addition, up to 22 Skyfarers can be embarked on it. If this unit is part of an army that is not a Kharadron Overlord army, it can still use the Skyfleet's battle trait. The Great Skyhook has a damage characteristic of 6 if its target's a monster. In addition, it can, if attacks make this unit's Great Skyhook score hit on a monster, that monster is not slain. After the attack's been resolved, roll a die. On a 4+, it's snagged. And while snagged, it cannot carry out monster rampages. A monster cannot be snagged more than once per turn. So you do keep your flat 6, but against, I guess, appropriate targets. And then Great Sky Cannon is you choose which firing mode. And it is still variable damage all the time. Now, bomb racks are after this unit finishes a move. You can pick an enemy unit that was passed across and roll a number of dice equal to the bomb's rack's value. For every 4+, take a mortal wound, and it does not affect units that can fly. So you start off on 10d6 4+ mortal wounds. Like I said, that battle tactic is you got to finish off a small unit. You're probably going to do 5 on average, but I would count on 3 to 4 to actually, if you're trying to do a tactic, get one shot at it. And then Supremacy Mine, once per battle at the end of the enemy charge phase, you can say this unit will drop its Supremacy Mine. If you do so, pick an enemy unit within 3 of this unit and roll a die. On a 2+, that enemy unit suffers number of mortal wounds equal to the roll. So, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't bracket as much. It can always fly high, but it doesn't have the disengage fly high rules anymore. In its core thing, they're commands, right? So, one, they don't go away because you can only do it when you're not wounded in the beginning with the old one. In this one, they're just commands you get to do. But some are, but one's a once per game ability as well because it's actually not a command. It's a footnote. So yeah, I don't know, for an army that's supposed to feature this as their main like thing, I feel like taking some of the consistent damage off of it, not great, although it is a bit tougher and it can always kind of do its tricks a little. Like one of them can do its one trick. I don't feel like you take 2 of these anymore. You probably just take 1. All right, your frigate lost, gained a save, sorry, and then gained a single wound. Yes, it's 15 wounds now, 3+ save, which is cool. It has a flat 12-inch move, which doesn't degrade. It has ramming dice at 5, sorry, it goes 5 wounds, sorry. 0 to 5 is top bracket, and then 6 to 9, 10 to 12, and 13+. It does rams now. Its ramming dice are 8, 7, 6, 5. Boarding weapons go 6, 5, 4, 3, and bomb racks are 8, 6, 4, 4. Bomb racks work the same as the Ironclad. 4+ mortal wounds. It transports 12 Skyfarers. It's an assault boat, which means that the speed, after this unit finishes a charge move, you can pick an enemy within 1 and roll a number of dice equal to the ram value. For every 4+ takes a mortal wound. Then you can pick any friendly units embarked in this unit to disembark. Units that disembark in this way must be set up within 3 of an enemy unit and count as making a charge move. So this is a neat like assault vessel thing. Basically, you drive it into the enemy, it does a bunch of mortal wounds, and then you get out and fight. It also doesn't have the disengage and fly high rules because they're just like everything else, they're commands now. So again, it's not super fighty in combat, but it gets to do a lot of murdering and dropping people off. Bomb rack's the same, heavy skyhook's the same with the snagging, and then heavy sky cannon's the same, pick a fire mode. It's smaller shots though, right? So it has 4 carbine shots, 3+3+, -1, 2 damage. The heavy sky cannon shrapnel is 5 shots, 3+3+, -1, 2 damage. And its shell is 2 shots, 4+2+, -2, D3+2 instead of +3. Skyhook is exactly the same, 2 shots, 4+3+, -2, D6 damage, but it's flat 6 against monsters. And then your boarding weapons are the same as like an Arcanaut Company's swords. And we got the last one, the baby gun hauler. How you doing, gun hauler? You've got a 3+ save now, which is sweet, so they up the durability a little bit. Of course, that's the same otherwise. Carbines, you get 2 shots. The shrapnel is 4 shots, and that's D3+1 damage for the shell, but the same core stats of like rolling to hit and stuff. Drill cannon's got a 24-inch range. 1 shot, 3+3+, -3, D3 damage. It's the same as before, but it lost some range. Lost 12 inches of range. And then it's got fly, full ahead, no damage track on this, obviously, because this is like a less than monster size one. Once you're about at the start of your movement phase, you can say this unit will move full ahead. If you do so, add 6 to its move. And then escort vessel. Friendly sky vessels other than Grunstock gun haulers have a ward save of 6+ while they're within 3 of any friendly Gunstock gun haulers. So he hands out a ward. It's still worth taking these guys, so they handed a ward to your bigger ships. After this unit finishes a normal move or a run, you can pick 1 enemy unit that this unit passed across and roll 4 dice. For every 4+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound, and this ability has no effect on units that can fly. And your drill cannon. If an unmodified roll for a drill cannon to hit is a 5+, the attack does 3 mortal wounds to the target and the attack sequence ends. And then sky cannon, each time this unit shoots, choose either the shrapnel or shell characteristic for its attacks. All right, and then you got your Grunstock Thunderers, your big riflemans. These were a new-ish unit. They've got 4-inch move, 2+2 wounds. These guys actually have 2 wounds compared to the Arcanaut Company. 3+ save and bravery 7. They're pretty great. Every model in the Grunstock Thunderers unit's armed with an Aether shot rifle and a heavy gun butt. For every 5, you can have a fumigator, and 1 in every 5 can replace their Aether shot rifle with a deck sweeper. 1 in 5 models can replace their Aether shot rifle with a Aether cannon, and 1 in every 5 models can replace their Aether shot rifle with a Grunstock mortar. So the base rifle is 18-inch range, 2 shots, 3+4+, -1/1 damage, and you can shoot off of a ship. Your fumigator is 12-inch range, D6 shots. It doesn't roll to hit though. It has choking fug. Attacks me with an automatically hit. In addition, at the end of the combat phase, pick an enemy unit within 3. A model with this Aetheric Fumigator, and then on 2+, it does D3 mortal wounds because it just chokes them. It's a smog gun. 3+ to wound, 1 damage. The deck sweeper is 12-inch range, 5+3+, 5 attacks, 3+4+, -1, 1 damage. It's a big like scattergun. The Aether cannon is 18-inch range, 1 shot, 3+2+, -2, 3 damage. And the mortar is 18-inch range. Its attacks characteristic is I think equal to the unit size, which is equal to the number of models in the target unit to a maximum of 5. And then 3+3+, 1 damage. And the heavy gun butt's just an Arcanaut Company attack. 1 attack, 4+4+. And then you got a drill bit. Each time this unit fights, once all of its attacks have been resolved, if this unit includes a gunnery sergeant, pick an enemy within 3. On a 5+, they take a mortal wound. Because he drills them with his drill bit. I think they're great. I mean, they're 2 wounds transporting, like capacities going down. I feel like they're a great thing to have shooting outside of a sky vessel. And then your Edrin Ringers can still heal for 3. Their Skyhawks are damaged 3 when they attack a monster, which is crazy. Which is D3 normally. Now they have same core stats, still only a 4+ save, no 3+ save. The rapid fire river gun is -2 Ren now. No, wait. Yeah, -2 Ren now and 1 damage. Athematic volley gun is 15-inch range, as is the grenade grapple launcher and skyhook. But it's got a 2d6 shots, 4+4+, 1 damage, and the grapple launcher is 1 attack, 4+3+, -2 d3 damage. Of course, does 3 against monsters. Drill launcher is 15-inch range, 1 attack, 4+3+, -3 d3 damage. These are all 1 and 3 can have one of these special guns. Their Aethermatic Saw is 2 attacks, 3+3+, -2 d3 damage, and their Gun Butt is 1 attack, 4+5+, 1 damage. Yeah, take a big gun, you get a gun butt instead. Otherwise, you got a rapid fire rivet gun and your cool saw. If you roll a hit of 6 with a drill launcher, you do 3 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. Emergency field repairs once per turn. At the end of any phase, if this unit's more than 3 from the enemy, it can say that they're going to repair a sky vessel. Pick a friendly sky vessel within 3 and roll a dice for each model in this unit. On a 4 to 5, they heal a wound. On a 6, they heal 2 wounds instead. And then your grapnel launcher, while this unit includes any models armed with a grapnel launcher, once per battle at the end of your movement phase, you can say this unit will reel itself towards an objective. If you do so, pick a point in the battlefield within 15 of the unit and on a terrain feature, then remove this unit from the battlefield and set them wholly within 3 of that point and more than 9 from the enemy. They basically like, they Legend of Zelda hook shot themselves over to something. Your Sky Wardens, same core stats, 12-inch move, 4+ save, 2 wounds, bravery 7. They got their Vulcanizer pistols and Sky Pikes, and then they can trade 1 and 3 for a Vulcanizer pistol, drill launcher and gun butt, grapple launcher and gun butt, or sky hook and gun butt. And they're the same otherwise. So you're looking at the Vulcanizer pistol being 3 shots, 3+3+, -1 damage. Sky Pikes are better than the Buzzsaw slightly, I would say, because they're 3 attacks and more consistent. 3 attacks, 3+3+, -1, 2 damage, as opposed to D3. And then gun butts are the same. Drill launcher's the same, grapple launcher's the same, Skyhook's the same, but they have time charges. So these are your not repair guys. At the end of the combat phase, if this unit's within 3 of any enemy units, you can say this unit will use its time charges to escape. Roll a die on a 2+, pick an enemy within 3 inches, and they suffer D3 mortal wounds, and this unit must retreat. They go pocket sand and blow you up. All right, so that's it. Those are all the profiles. I mean, I don't know. No more Skyhooks to like ride along with the Edrinriggers. They got to actually be transported now because they all have the Skyfarer's rule. So they can get inside and they count as next to it. So I guess they count as being on the battlefield. So they could perform all the repairs and stuff. They just can't do anything else. As far as point values go, though, let's have a look at who went where. So your company went up by 10 points. Arcanaut Frigate is 50 points more at 300. The Ironclad is down to 500. Although I'm looking at the book profiles here, so these may have changed in general GHBs. So don't quote me on. I'm comparing book to book, not where the GHB is at right now, because I'd have to go dig that out. Aether Chemist is 80 from 90. Etheric Navigator is down to 85. The Admiral is 125. It's a bit cheaper. Bjorgen Thunderwreck and his Profiteer is 160. Brock Grunts and the Lord Magnet's 220. Code Rights are 90. Drekkie Flint's 130. The Edrinmaster with his Dirigible is 170. Edrinmaster with Edrinhearts is 90. Edrinriggers are 120. Grunstock Gunhaulers 170. Grunstock Thunders are 135. And the Skywardens are 130. You can ally with Cities of Sigmar Dwarven units only, Fire Slayers and Stormcast Eternals, because that's what all the good guys can do. Your frigates are battle line in a Barrack Ziflin army. Your Edrinriggers are battle line if you have any Edrinmasters. Your Gunhaulers are battle line in a Barrack Urbaz army. A Grunstock Thunder unit is battle line in a Barrack Nar army. And a Skywarden is battle line in a Barrack Zon army. So everybody gets a bespoke battle line, basically. I think everybody. 1, 2, 3. Edrinmasters is not really a thing. 4 of them are tailored to your Skyports. So mostly, a lot of it went down in cost. I feel like they kind of evened out the survivability and damage output on some of the things. Obviously, the big shift is the frigate and the Ironclad's damage output going from flat 6 to something different. I think that's going to be the big bone of contention people are going to complain about. Point values haven't shifted so much that I think army sizes will change that much. They've done away with some of the extraneous rules, and I do like that. I like the fact they've taken away like the need for like the Skyhooks are different from embarking, are different from disembarking. They have their own like, we're not actually a garrison rule anymore. We're just on the battlefield, invisible inside this thing, and that they can issue commands while inside it too. So it feels a little cleaner overall. There's less rules to kind of capture the same on battlefield effect, and I'm a big fan of that. I like anything that gives you basically the same outcomes on the battlefield. Obviously, I don't mean in-game outcomes. I mean like the ability to like move and operate and shoot with less text required to kind of explain it. They cut out a bunch of extraneous things, although I'm sure some people will have their favorites and will argue with me and be like, this is my favorite artifact, this is my favorite command trait, and this is ruin the whole army, and whatever. It's the designer's choice of this is how we want it to play, and here's what you get to play with. They've boiled it down to like the essence of what I guess their intention is, and I'm fine with that because I like my decisions on the table to matter more than my pregame meta decisions. And if you give me something like this army, where the army itself is incredibly small, there's not a lot of unit options, just tell me roughly how I can play it and let me kind of decide the amounts of stuff, like how many gun haulers to ironclads and stuff like that. But this is an army about boats. You're not taking this army and just taking nothing but Arcanaut Company and walking across the table with them, right? Like, there's an intention to how this plays, and everything is now funneling towards that intention, so I'm fine with that. It'll be neat to see how it shakes out, and honestly, I would rather they just made more armies of this size. This is a nice adjustable army size. If you bought the Ironclad and a couple of the old start collectings, you had this army basically ready to rock and roll, and it played the way that you think it plays by looking at it. Your ships fly around, they do their best to clear things off objectives or hold things back, they try and stay at arm's length, they dump off their Arcanaut Company, and they zip around the table picking away at stuff until it's dead. It's a shooting army in a game with very little shooting, or very little long-range shooting. They have a bit of ability to deal with magic, but not much, so you kind of have to accept that about them. And the models are cool as hell and feed into this new cosmic fantasy universe that we have in the Warhammer Age of Sigmar sort of like setting. So yeah, I'm into it. I like it. I think that this is, if you like the idea of flying space dwarves who engage in merciless, like late stage capitalism, then this is probably the army for you. If that doesn't do it for you, or if you're a veteran that had like a real sort of like set way of playing their army and this is disrupted, like obviously the fly high withdraw rules not being part of that and being like commands is a big shakeup probably for Kharadron players. They're going to have to deal with that and learn how it feels. Then you might not be happy with this book. But I think if you're getting into Kharadron Overlords for the first time, they're going to feel a little less weird to play on the battlefield because they play more as a 3rd edition army than as kind of their own unique set of rules. So there it is. Big thanks to GMG's, GW's, not GMG. I'm GMG. The GW for sending along the digital copy to review. And for you guys for checking it out. Till next time, I'm Ash. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed that video. There are tons of other games already recorded for you to watch. Click over to my channel page if you haven't already, and have a look through the dozens of playlists full of videos. I guarantee you'll discover a game you haven't seen played before. I put out new videos 7 days a week, and every day is themed to a different genre as I continue to explore the wider world of gaming. Of course, none of that's possible without you, the viewer, so click a like and subscribe if you'd like to stay on top of what's happening here daily. My 2 kids and I are massively grateful to be able to have the flexibility of this job so I can always maximize my time with them. If you want to support me continuing to put out this content, it's only possible because of my amazing backers on Patreon who support the studio, equipment, and model cost, as well as being how I make the bulk of my living. You can also help out by buying a t-shirt through Spreadshirt, a measuring gauge or widget from Death Ray Designs, or buying one of my games and supplements like Last Days, Gamma Wolves, and Blaster. As a way of showing my appreciation, patrons get early access to new games and supplements that I write throughout the course of the year. Huge thanks for watching, it really does help out, and happy gaming.